Hey everybody, it's Lavender Town, and this is the final installment of Inktober for the year. I hope you guys have had fun with it so far, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. So the Inktober for this day, the 21st, was Drain, and so I decided to do a vampire draining the life out of a popsicle. I don't know why I had popsicles so much on the mind. If you saw my last Inktober video, you may remember that I'm no stranger to popsicle illustrations, but I think it's just because it's starting to get cold again, and some part of me is contradictory and wants it to still be summer, even though I love autumn the most out of all the seasons. When I was a kid, I used to drain the color and flavor out of the popsicles I used to make with my mom and sister. I don't think you can do that with real popsicles that you buy from the store, but we were making them out of fruit juice from concentrate, and for some reason you were able to do that, and you would be left with just a hunk of ice. Oh, a lot of people have told me that looking at this drawing hurts their teeth, so sorry if that's true for you. I've always been the type to crunch on ice, so it doesn't do that for me. For day 21, the prompt was expensive, and I wanted to do something a little bit sillier, so I decided to do one based on Worth It, that BuzzFeed show. I know they ate a pizza that was made out of gold and squid ink, and I was like, well, I have a gold paint marker, and squid ink is the color that I'm primarily using for Inktober, black. So I decided to show her eating the really expensive $1,000 pizza. I always thought that looked really gross. I think pizza should probably not have gold on it because gold, it does not have a flavor, so it seems like kind of a waste of gold. So I wanted her to look sort of dissatisfied with it, because I can only imagine eating that pizza because it's way too expensive, but I imagine that once you actually taste it, it's probably not very good. So I just imagined her really wishing for some crappy garlic dip or something to improve the flavor of the pizza. On day 23, the prompt was muddy, and that one really lends itself to this kind of challenge. So I wanted to do a girl just sort of kicking around in the mud, having a good time. I remember when I was a kid, I really liked playing outside when it was raining, and truth be told, I still kind of like it. It's been raining a lot lately, and I'm loving it, except that people are working on our house right now on the roof, and they have to keep stopping every time it rains, which is making it take forever. And it's been really hard to record because they're always smashing around on the roof. They also always start at 8 a.m., which is practically the crack of dawn compared to when I usually wake up. So that's been really tough. But yeah, anyway, I'm still using that brush pen. I love it so much. I basically destroyed it by this point. It's starting to get really weird. I don't know if you can see, there's a few parts where it's sort of skidded and made some weird sort of dodgy lines. I'm gonna have to buy a new one. Honestly, I'm not overly impressed with the longevity of this brush pen. I don't know if it was just not prepared to be drawn with every single day for a whole month, but I really needed it to be. I then put in a little bit of hatching, and then she was done. I like that umbrella. Day 24 was Chop, and so I had a few different ideas, but I ended up with kind of a dark one. I thought about the French Revolution and basically the bourgeois getting their heads chopped off, and I just couldn't resist doing a spooky Halloween-y sort of comedic drawing of a Marie Antoinette-like character being about to have their head chopped off. I gave her the huge, beautiful Rococo hair and all the fluffy gown and everything. And I basically just put her under the guillotine, about to have her head chopped off, and she's just kind of like, dang it. I wanted it to be a little funny, so I gave her a face that was not horrified or traumatized, so that the whole thing is a little more lighthearted. I went crazy with the hatching and details on this one, and I wanted her hair to really look like it was all wrapped around itself. Then I went in with a strong black on all of the parts of the guillotine that weren't the blade, just so that there was a more strong black shape in there, because I was trying to incorporate that in all of my Inktober pieces just so that they matched each other a little better. And then I went back in with a little gel pen to add some more definition because it looked sort of messy the way I did it. I highly recommend getting a gel pen. I'm using a Jelly Roll White. That's all it says on it, so I don't know what else to say about it, but it's really good, and it works well over the top of Sharpie, though make sure that your ink is dry first, otherwise you'll mess up your pen and your drawing. Day 25 was Prickly, and this is one that I definitely messed up. I got behind because I went to a big Halloween event thing out of town, and I didn't do my Inktober ahead of time, so I don't know how exactly I thought I was going to record a Inktober drawing while I was out of town at a hotel, sleeping not where my recording stuff is, but when I came back I remembered about Inktober and had to do this one. So I was pretty cranky working on this, which worked well because I wanted her to have a prickly attitude as well, and I always find that when my mood matches my drawing, it always works a little bit better. I stuck away from the brush pen for this one because I thought prickly doesn't necessarily work as well for brush pen stuff, so I went to the Micron Technical, and then I did just a ton of hatching so that her jacket looks spiky instead of soft. I just wanted the whole thing to look sort of crunchy, and I really love hatching, to be honest. It's kind of the same method I did for my whale shark in the previous video. Basically you just draw 3 lines, and then the next 3 lines you draw, make sure it's at a different angle, and do that for the whole thing, and then suddenly it looks like you have this really elegant pattern. I like how she turned out. She looks like a really mean fashion critic. For day 26, the prompt was stretched, and I thought, why not continue our medieval, or, well, pre-modern era torture and execution theme that I started with the pseudo Marie Antoinette, and have a girl on a stretcher, and I wanted to give her the same sort of face. This really is the companion piece to that piece from before, where she's basically just being stretched out on a stretcher. But my theory with this one is that she's too tall and flexible for the stretcher, so now she's just really bored and they don't know what to do with her. Also, I imagine she doesn't have any information to give up. I'm not exactly sure how she got herself in this situation, but I think that she just got really unlucky. A lot of the time when I do an illustration, I have the full story of it already kind of figured out in my head, but because I'm doing these Inktober prompts so quickly, I usually only have a half story, so they're kind of a mystery to me as well. Do you guys always make up stories for your illustrations? I don't know if that's normal, but I pretty much can't draw anything if there's not some kind of tiny story going on behind it. Day 27, I think I slipped up again. I remember doing this one on the same day as another Inktober, which definitely means it was late. I really don't like how this one turned out, I'm gonna be honest. The prompt was thunder, and for the longest time I was just staring at my sketchbook trying to think of how to show a sound. I wanted to just show lightning because there's a million cool ways to show lightning, but thunder is not lightning, so I just had to try to imply the sound by showing lightning and showing someone covering their ears trying to sleep. I've never actually been kept up by thunder, but once when I was in Japan, I was really excited because I heard the thunder so loud, so I opened the window because I thought that I wanted to hear it. Like, I don't often get to be a part of such a big storm, so it was really exciting. And then it literally went so loud that my ears started ringing, and I was like, I gotta close this window. Like, it was unbelievable. I've never experienced a storm like that, and it was really thrilling, but also yeah, it actually hurt my ears. I didn't know thunder could actually be that loud without, lightning striking you or something. But the weather conditions in Japan are just crazy. And when this one was all said and done, it smelled like crazy Sharpie fumes because this is the most black space that I've had in any of my drawings. Day 28 was the prompt of gift, and I knew I wanted to do something a little silly. One of my favorite vines of all time is this one.
The avocado! Thanks!
So to pay homage to this honestly legendary piece of film, I decided that my prompt for gift was going to be that little avocado kid, and I tried to make him look really cute and cartoony, and avocados are black, so it makes sense for Inktober. I did it from memory, so it doesn't really look like him. I don't think he has such shaggy anime hair, but still, you get the idea. Weirdly enough, this vine actually reminds me of an actual Christmas memory I had. One year, my sister asked for a block of cream cheese for Christmas because she secretly always wanted to just try biting into a block of cream cheese, and my mom would never let her because that's insanely bad for you. But one year, they just wrapped a block of cream cheese so that she could finally have her wish. I think that she only really wanted it because she asked to do that one time and mom said no. So it became like this coveted thing because it wasn't allowed. I think there's a lot of stuff like that when you're a kid. On day 29, the prompt was double, and I knew I wanted to draw my twins from my comic series Unfamiliar. They are based on the Shining Twins. When I first thought of Unfamiliar, it was mainly going to be a comic that poked fun at horror tropes, and so these were very early characters when I was designing the whole series. They're basically two ghosts who constantly cause mischief, and one is a little bit more evil than the other, but most of the time they're perfectly in sync. I took out the brush pen again for this one. I really like how this one turned out. It's one of my favorites, probably in my top 5. When I'm working in digital, having twin characters is really easy. I usually just copy and paste almost all of the drawing of the first twin, and then they're perfectly symmetrical and perfectly matched in every single panel. But since I'm actually doing these Inktobers in real life, they become much harder because they need to be perfectly matched. Even when you're drawing the same character over and over in a comic, if they're at least separated by a panel, it's okay if there's small inconsistencies, but when there's twins sitting right next to each other, it's really easy to compare and contrast. Let me know how you think I did. On day 30, the prompt was Jolt, and I really liked this one to start out with. For some reason, I wanted to do a slightly different style than usual, so I just gave her this sort of mocked-in face, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it. So I basically just gave her these little lines for eyes. And it was a really fast drawing for some reason, it just really flew by. I think because I came up with so many different lightning ideas for Day Thunder, I decided to go with lightning for Jolt. And basically I just wanted to show this inexperienced looking god sending lightning down to Earth. I don't know why, I wanted to do something a little bit more surreal and interesting. And I wanted her pants to look leathery, so I gave them like a hard black shadow. I hatched in her hair where it's shaved, and then I just sort of free-formed her face in, and now I'm really not sure that I like it. It looks kind of weird, I think, but let me know what you think. Whenever I go wildly off of my own usual style, I always feel a little bit uncomfortable with it, but it's probably good for me. You don't want to get stuck too much in the style that you always use. And we made it to the end, Day 31. The prompt for this day was slice, and because it was Halloween, I had to go as spooky as I could, so I drew this sliced up sort of Reaper character. I wanted her to look like basically she embodies death, and that she's this like creepy, held together by who knows what sort of demon creature. So I just have her have these even cuts through her body and arms, like she's like this undead creature, and I have her holding a scythe so that we obviously get more of the Grim Reaper metaphor. And this one was honestly a piece of cake because I had been looking forward to this prompt ever since I saw the prompt list, so I had it sort of planned out, not exactly, but I knew kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to use all of my techniques that I had been using throughout Inktober on this piece so that it kind of wrapped up the entire series. So I did some hatching and shadows in her hair, and then I blocked in full blacks in other areas. Now that I'm looking back on it, I wish I went in with the white jelly roll to make her skirt have more pleats in it, but other than that, I am really happy with it. This is the very first year that I've actually gotten all 31 drawings done. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed all these recordings. I recorded them all month long so that you guys could see the process of every single Inktober. So thank you so much for watching till the end, and I will see you in the next video. Big thank you to my patrons including Kalpompone, Dr. Casket, Elizabeth Album, Hope Chilsum, JJJ, Blep, Blah Blah Blah, Micah Dactyl, Okamore, Ollie, Poopuik, Rachel Singh, Rosie Warlock, Sergeant Pendulum, The Artsy Moose, Yo Boy ST, Zixith, and Zoe Stardust.